One unexpected proposition changed everything for Noah Parker. When Billionaire CEO Sophia Montgomery walked into his modest bakery with an outrageous request, he never imagined how their lives would become intertwined in ways neither could have predicted. Stay with me until the end to discover how two people from completely different worlds found healing, redemption, and an unexpected path to family, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to see more stories about finding connection in the most unlikely circumstances. The morning rush at Sweetwater Bakery had finally subsided, leaving Noah Parker with a moment to breathe as he wiped down the marble countertop. The small shop smelled of cinnamon and fresh bread, sunlight streaming through the front windows to illuminate the rustic wooden tables and chalkboard menu. It was a Tuesday in April, unremarkable in every way, until the bell above the door chimed, and she walked in. Noah recognized her immediately. Anyone in Chicago would. Sophia Montgomery, tech billionaire, philanthropist, and notorious hard-ass. Her face regularly graced the covers of business magazines, usually accompanied by headlines about her ruthless acquisition strategies or innovative software solutions. In person, she was even more intimidating, tall and elegant in a tailored charcoal suit, dark hair pulled back in a sleek ponytail, her expression coolly assessing as she surveyed the bakery. "Welcome to Sweetwater," Noah said, straightening up and offering his standard smile. "What can I get for you today?" Sophia approached the counter, her heels clicking precisely on the hardwood floor. Up close, Noah noticed details the magazines didn't capture, the faint shadows beneath her eyes, expertly concealed with makeup, and the tension in her shoulders despite her confident posture. "Are you Noah Parker?" she asked, her voice crisp and direct. Noah's smile faltered. "Yes." "Have we met?" "No." She glanced around the empty bakery before returning her gaze to him. "I'd like to speak with you privately. Is there somewhere we can talk?" Warning bells rang in Noah's mind. In his experience, nothing good ever followed that request, especially from someone with the resources of Sophia Montgomery. Was she planning to buy the building? Shut down his bakery for some development project? "My office is through the back," he said cautiously. "But I should warn you, it's also my storage room. Not exactly set up for meetings." "That's fine." Noah hesitated, then called to his assistant who was restocking the display case. "Mia, can you watch the front for a bit?" Mia, a college student with purple-tipped hair and multiple ear piercings, looked up with undisguised curiosity at Sophia. "Sure thing, boss." Noah led Sophia through the swinging door into the back of the bakery, past the industrial mixers and ovens to a small room that served as both office and storage. He cleared a stack of invoices from a chair for her, acutely aware of how shabby the space must look to someone accustomed to penthouse views and designer furniture. "Sorry about the mess," he said, taking a seat behind his cluttered desk. "What can I do for you, Ms. Montgomery?" Sophia sat with perfect posture, her designer handbag placed precisely on her lap. "I'll be direct, Mr. Parker. I want a baby, and I believe you can help me." Noah stared at her, certain he'd misheard. "Excuse me?" "I want a child," she repeated, as calmly as if discussing the weather. "And after considerable research, I've determined that you would be an ideal biological father." The room seemed to tilt slightly as Noah processed her words. Of all the scenarios he'd imagined when Sophia Montgomery walked into his bakery, this hadn't even made the list. "Is this some kind of joke?" he asked, looking around for hidden cameras. "I don't joke about important matters," Sophia replied, a hint of irritation crossing her features. "This is a business proposition. I'm prepared to compensate you generously for your contribution." Noah leaned back in his chair, trying to gather his thoughts. "Let me get this straight. You, Sophia Montgomery, walked into my bakery to ask me, a complete stranger, to father your child? You're hardly a complete stranger. I've done my research." She reached into her handbag and pulled out a slim folder, placing it on the desk between them. "Noah Parker, 34 years old. Owner of Sweetwater Bakery for the past 5 years. Graduate of the Culinary Institute of America. Divorced. Father of one daughter, Lily, age 7. No criminal record. No family history of genetic disorders. Excellent health according to your most recent physical. Noah's blood ran cold. How did you get my medical records? That's private information. Sophia waved a hand dismissively. I have resources. The point is, you meet all my criteria. Criteria, Noah repeated flatly. For breeding stock. A flicker of something, perhaps discomfort, crossed Sophia's face before her cool mask returned. I prefer to think of it as careful family planning. I'm 38 years old, Mr. Parker. My biological clock is a consideration. I've built my company, secured my financial future, and now I want a child. I don't have time for dating, and I have no interest in marriage. This seems the most efficient solution. Noah stood up, anger replacing his initial shock. Ms. Montgomery, I'm a father, not a sperm donor. And even if I were interested in that profession, I wouldn't work with someone who invades my privacy and treats having a child like acquiring a new company. Sophia remained seated, her expression unchanged. I'm offering $5 million. Noah, who had been about to show her out, froze. What? $5 million, she repeated. Tax-free. Plus coverage of any expenses related to the process. In exchange, you provide genetic material and sign away all parental rights. No obligations, no responsibilities. A simple transaction. For a brief, shameful moment, Noah considered it. $5 million would secure Lily's future, college, graduate school, a house someday. It would allow him to expand the bakery, hire more staff, maybe even open a second location. It was more money than he could hope to see in a lifetime of selling pastries. But then he thought of his daughter, of what it would mean to have another child out there that he would never know. A half-sibling to Lily that she might never meet. Why me? He asked finally. With your money, you could go to the best fertility clinics, choose from pre-screened donors with perfect genetics and advanced degrees. Something shifted in Sophia's expression, a momentary vulnerability quickly concealed. Clinical profiles don't tell the whole story. I've observed you with your daughter. You've what? Noah's anger returned, sharper now. You've been watching me and my child? Not in a concerning way, Sophia clarified, though she had the grace to look slightly embarrassed. I live in the penthouse above the bookstore across the street. I've seen you walking your daughter to school. You're patient, attentive, kind. Those qualities have a genetic component. Noah shook his head in disbelief. That's not how it works. You can't just cherry-pick genetic traits like you're customizing software. Perhaps not entirely, Sophia conceded. But studies show that temperament has both genetic and environmental factors. Your daughter is well-adjusted, intelligent, creative. Those outcomes interest me. Lily is not an outcome, Noah said firmly. She's a person. A little girl who deserves privacy and respect, not to be studied as some kind of genetic success story. Sophia's eyes narrowed slightly. I meant no disrespect to your daughter. I'm simply explaining my reasoning. Noah ran a hand through his hair, trying to process the surreal conversation. Ms. Montgomery, I appreciate that you want a child. That's a natural desire. But this approach, ambushing a stranger, invading their privacy, treating reproduction like a business transaction, it's not right. What would you suggest? Sophia asked, and for the first time, there was a hint of genuine curiosity in her voice. Dating apps? Waiting for Mr. Right while my fertility declines? Those options seem inefficient and unlikely to succeed given my schedule and public profile. Despite himself, Noah felt a twinge of sympathy. Behind the cold business proposition and invasive research, there was a woman who wanted something deeply human, a child to love, a family of her own. "Have you considered adoption?" he asked, his tone softening slightly. "There are children who need homes, who could benefit from your resources." "I've explored that option," Sophia replied. "The process is lengthy and complicated, especially for single parents with demanding careers. And I want—" She paused, seeming to search for the right words. "I want the experience of pregnancy and birth. Of creating a life." "Is that so unreasonable?" "No," Noah admitted. "It's not unreasonable. But approaching it this way is." They sat in silence for a moment, the hum of the bakery's refrigeration units the only sound in the small office. Noah studied Sophia Montgomery, really looked at her beyond the power suit and perfect makeup. There was loneliness there, he realized. A woman who had everything except the one thing money couldn't simply buy. "I'm sorry," he said finally. "I can't help you. Not like this." Sophia nodded once, gathering her handbag as she stood. "I understand. Thank you for your time, Mr. Parker." She moved toward the door with the same precise confidence with which she'd entered, but Noah noticed a slight slump to her shoulders that hadn't been there before. "Ms. Montgomery," he called after her, not entirely sure why he was prolonging the conversation. "There are ethical fertility clinics with thoroughly screened donors. Places that respect privacy and treat the process with the dignity it deserves. That might be a better approach." Sophia paused at the door, her back still to him. "Perhaps," she said quietly. Then, almost too soft to hear, "but they wouldn't be you." Before Noah could respond to that puzzling statement, she was gone, the swinging door closing behind her with a soft whoosh. He sat back down at his desk, staring at the folder she'd left behind, the dossier of his life, neatly compiled and evaluated for genetic suitability. What had just happened? And why did he feel so unsettled by her parting words? 3 days later, Noah was elbow-deep in bread dough when Mia appeared in the kitchen doorway. "She's back," Mia said, her expression a mix of curiosity and concern. "The scary rich lady." Noah glanced at the clock, 10:15 a.m., well after the morning rush. "Tell her I'm busy." "I tried. She said she'll wait as long as it takes." Mia hesitated. "She brought a gift for Lily." That got Noah's attention. He wiped his hands on his apron, a knot forming in his stomach. "I'll be right out." Sophia Montgomery sat at a corner table, a small wrapped package beside her. She wore a more casual outfit today, if designer jeans and a silk blouse could be considered casual, but her posture was just as perfect, her expression just as controlled. "Ms. Montgomery," Noah said, approaching her table. "I thought I made myself clear the other day." "You did," she acknowledged. "I'm not here to repeat my proposition." "Then why are you here?" Sophia gestured to the chair across from her. "May I have 5 minutes of your time? Please." Something in her tone, a hint of vulnerability beneath the composure, made Noah relent. He sat down, acutely aware of Mia watching from behind the counter. 5 minutes, he agreed. "First, I want to apologize," Sophia began, surprising him. "My approach was inappropriate. I invaded your privacy and treated a deeply personal matter with clinical detachment. That was wrong of me." Noah hadn't expected an apology. In the business profiles he'd read about Sophia Montgomery, apologetic was never among the adjectives used to describe her. "Thank you for acknowledging that," he said cautiously. "Second," she continued, pushing the small package toward him, "this is for your daughter. It's a book I loved when I was her age. I noticed she enjoys reading when I saw you together at the park." Noah made no move to take the gift. "You've been watching us at the park too?" Sophia had the grace to look embarrassed. "I live nearby. It wasn't intentional surveillance, just observation. I should have been more forthcoming about that." "Yes, you should have." Noah studied her, trying to understand her motives. Why are you really here, Ms. Montgomery? Sophia's perfectly manicured hands fidgeted slightly with her coffee cup, the first sign of nervousness he'd seen from her. I'd like to start over. Properly this time. No business propositions, no dossiers. Just a conversation. About? About why, of all the potential candidates in Chicago, I can't stop thinking you'd be the right father for my child. Noah sighed, running a hand through his hair. Look, I'm flattered in a weird, invasive sort of way, but... My father left when I was 6, Sophia interrupted, her voice suddenly stripped of its usual polish. He walked out one morning and never came back. No explanation, no goodbye. Just, gone. The abrupt shift caught Noah off guard. I'm sorry to hear that. My mother worked 3 jobs to support us. I barely saw her. I practically raised myself. Sophia's gaze was fixed on her coffee cup, avoiding his eyes. I built my company from nothing. Worked 80-hour weeks for years. Sacrificed personal relationships for professional success. And now I have everything I thought I wanted, except a family. Noah finished for her. Sophia looked up, and for the first time, he saw past the billionaire CEO to the human beneath. Yes. But I'm terrified of doing it wrong. Of being like my father, or my absent mother. Of damaging a child the way I was damaged. Parenthood is scary for everyone, Noah said, his tone softening despite himself. Even those of us who had good examples growing up. When I saw you with your daughter, Sophia continued, the way you listened to her, really listened, even when she was talking about something trivial, my father never did that. Not once. And I thought, that's what a parent should be. Noah felt a complicated mix of emotions, discomfort at being observed without his knowledge, sympathy for Sophia's childhood wounds, and a reluctant understanding of her motivations. Ms. Montgomery. Sophia, please. Sophia, he amended. I appreciate your honesty. And I understand wanting a family. But having a child isn't something you can engineer for optimal outcomes. It's messy and unpredictable and often terrifying. I know, she said quietly. That's why I'm here. Not to make another business proposal, but to ask, how did you learn to be a good father? Was it instinct? Did someone teach you? The question was so unexpected, so genuine, that Noah found himself answering honestly. Both, I guess. I had good parents who showed me what love looks like. But a lot of it is just showing up. Being present. Making mistakes and apologizing for them. Learning as you go. Sophia absorbed this, her expression thoughtful. My 5 minutes are up, she noted, glancing at her watch. Thank you for listening. She stood to leave, but Noah found himself reluctant to end the conversation. Despite the bizarre beginning, there was something compelling about Sophia Montgomery's vulnerability, so at odds with her public persona. The park you mentioned, he said impulsively. Lily and I go there every Saturday morning. She feeds the ducks while I read. It's a public place. If you happen to be there around 10 a.m., well, it would be a coincidence, not stalking. A smile transformed Sophia's face, not the polished, camera-ready smile from her magazine covers, but something softer and more genuine. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you, Noah. As she walked out of the bakery, Noah wondered if he was making a huge mistake. But something told him that beneath the arrogance and awkward proposition, Sophia Montgomery was simply a wounded person seeking connection, just like everyone else. Saturday morning dawned clear and mild, perfect weather for the park. Noah packed Lily's favorite duck food, peas and oats, after he'd educated her about the dangers of bread for waterfowl, and a book for himself. As they walked the 3 blocks to the small neighborhood park, Lily chattered excitedly about her school project on butterflies. And Mrs. Thompson says that monarchs can fly all the way to Mexico, Daddy. Can you believe that? They're so tiny. That's pretty amazing, Noah agreed, smiling down at his daughter. Lily was small for her age, with her mother's curly brown hair and Noah's green eyes. She wore her favorite overalls today, the ones with embroidered flowers on the pockets, and rainbow sneakers that lit up when she walked. Can we go to Mexico to see the butterflies? Lily asked, skipping alongside him. Maybe someday, Noah said. That would be quite an adventure. I like adventures.